Hello, hello. So I'm going to do a short little stream. I'm trying to think, I can't really commit to a decision right now, but I'm trying to think about what to play next league. Um, there's going to be a lot of people feeling that same way. Um, so I've made a little list with pros and cons over some of the most successful league starters I've had, and I'm gonna think about how the meta has changed for them and stuff. So we got the old classic poison seismic saboteur. So because it's a trapper, it can run all mods. Works with Eldritch Battery, so you can use the Unnatural Instinct on the right hand side of the tree, and you can essentially run all mods. It's a decent bosser, because just the preloading of the traps and stuff. Um, yeah, it's cheap and reliable. It's maybe overplayed for a bunch of people, which means it's not going to be meta and it's gonna be fairly cheap. The most meta builds are gonna be very expensive, so as people compete for the gear for it. But this is cheap and reliable. It's smooth to start with, and it actually received two damage buffs despite the nerfs that happened to it. So the two damage buffs in question, one's basically 40 from the last time it was popular. It's 40% damage buff. The mastery that used to do 20% faster poison damage used to actually just cut your damage by 20% because it used to make your poisons expire faster and not actually deal damage faster. So they fixed it. Technically, your poisons deal damage 20% faster now. Instead of giving you a 20% damage penalty, it actually gives you, compared to it, it's a 40% buff. Um, instead of a nerf that nobody knew about, instead it's a 20% damage increase. So total 40%. The other damage buff that it received was the ritual gloves now exist, with the trap cooldown and trap something. The trap setter gloves. They didn't exist back when people playing Poison Seismic, but now they do. So it's much easier to sort of get going. Uh, when it was meta, Determination and Grace were more powerful, and they got nerfed. However, there are new tiers of armor, so you don't really have less armor and evasion overall. You still essentially have the same amount, um, and that makes up for it. Super solid build. It starts off as a poison build, and it's easier to, depending what happens with tattoos, it might be easier to cap your poison chance. If not, you can still get a really decent poison chance with Herald of Agony as well. But if you don't want to be hard capped by poison damage, the 30 something million, then you can transition to a crit assassin build. You don't have to do saboteur forever. You can change to an assassin power charge stacking crit and crit multi build, and that way you can uncap your damage output. So early game poison, late game it'll be crit seismic assassin, I guess. Or you can go crit seismic sab. If you're like assassin will have cheap crit, but if you're super rich, you can stay with sab for the extra cooldown. And um, if you're super rich, I mean, you'll end up siding with poison seismic. Then you go to crit assassin, and then you go back to crit sab. It's kind of weird, but yeah, it's just depending how rich you get, kind of thing. Um, the other option I was thinking was Blade Vortex Occultist. It's a solid build. It's really fast mapper. It can do all mods, and it's really solid with crop rotation. Really good because you can run risk scarabs and not worry about a thing. The boss damage is something to be desired. It can still clear, your Atlas progression. It's possible, but it's not the best. Um, but as far as like earning quick, satisfying pops, with the Profane Bloom, you can run strong boxes and stuff, and it's super satisfying for it. Then we got the classic Lightning Strike or Splitting Steel Trickster. Um, Intelligence, energy shield stacking. You can start off without intelligence ES stacking on a trickster, just being life, eventually transition into CI. And then when you transition, you'll start becoming super tanky. And then when you get a good amount of, you know, ES, you can go into ephemeral edge, etc., etc. Um, Starts off cheap, goes expensive. The damage is somewhat limited, but it's extremely capable. It can do all content, no problem. Really good way to get into T17s. Lightning Strike Slayer. With Ralakesh. I'm just gonna write that with Ralakesh and with a Maven Belt. It's the triple damage charges. So you keep your endurance charges and you get triple damage chance. I like 25-30% triple damage. Um, Super solid, super cheap, great starter with excellent damage. The defenses kind of suck late game, but it's quite capable until then. Um, and then I suppose it doesn't really transition into much. I guess you can kind of transition into a Hate Forge setup with, unlimited Val Lightning Strike. It works, but the tankiness is kind of, not there. Elemental Hit of the Spectrum Warden. Great, great League Star. Super capable early. Super quick at Legion farming. It's kind of shit at bosses though. Progress through the maps is super quick, and then you get to the bosses and you're six portaling them. You still be able to clear them. It's just not very good at the bossing. Uh, the other great sort of it's a shit bosser for sure because of the damage, but it's maybe just remove shit and just say mediocre. Um, it's still kind of capable. It's super tanky. It can do most mods other than recoup, regen, etc. But it's cozy. It's super cozy. Excellent clear with Maven boots. Um, Super solid clear. Again, the damage is hard capped to dot cap, 30 million, and there's nothing you can't transition out of, a dot into fucking, you know, you can't do crit, into a crit build or anything. You can't transition, so it's kind of bad. Uh, we got Molten Strike of the Zenith, Life or Strength Stacker. Amazing late game. Freaking amazing late game. Balstrion made a great life stacker with Bloodthirst Molten Strike build with Adorned or Strength Stacker. I think can also use Adorned. You don't have to use Adorned. It might still. I can't remember what the hell the best one was, but yeah, very capable. You can't start it as the Zenith build. It feels like shit. You have to start with Sunder into Earth Shatter, but Earth Shatter Jug transitioning into like a Molten Strike Jug or Strength Stacker Jug is probably the smoothest gameplay I've ever had. Um, didn't struggle at all with anything at all. Like the bosses were pushover, the mapping was super cozy. Um, yeah, good clear, good AoE, and I didn't even play it to the best of its potential. I did not know about staggering shouts. So if you stagger your shouts, you stagger the explosions of Earth Shatter, and you can get a lot more Earth Shatter explosions. Just gotta remember that with different qualities. Yeah, so you alternate the because auto shout will take the cooldown of the gem and apply it. If the quality of the gems is different, it will stagger the shouts. So you'll shout um, every like 0.5 or every 1 second or something like that, and it will basically all your earth shatters will explode. It's a lot more damage. I did not even know that, and I still had a super cozy, super smooth progress. So that's something I need to remember if I do it. Um, Next, we have the good old Toyota Corolla of builds, Toxic Rain Pathfinder. Um, Cheap, like dirt cheap. You can run it with no gear, and it'll clear everything. Um, Super capable. It is extremely hard capped to the 30 million damage. You can't really go beyond that. You may choose to use this as a starter to transition into another Pathfinder, like, I don't know, some sort of Chaos Hex Blast or Soul Rend build or something. Herald of Thunder Auto Bomber. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. It's super cheap, easy, but yeah, it kind of caps off, and you need to play something else. Herald of Thunder Auto Bomber. The technology exists to make this a really good build. You just basically switch off your brain and go run some maps. You can use Shock Nova to proc your shock, and then Herald of Thunder takes over from there. This would be Elementalist with all damage can shock, and 1 or 2 Holy Brotherhood. And Impulsa. That's basically how that works. Death's Oath Occultist has the Profane Bloom, and it's so good, man. Like, it's gotta be the easiest build I ever fucking played. We don't know if the weapon enchants are still gonna exist. You may have to pass to spiritual aid or anoint spiritual aid. I would pass to it rather than anoint it because you want aura AoE anoint. It's so good, and it's not you're not able to get it anywhere other than on anoint. Uh, Beacon of Hope, yeah. It works great with Beacon of Hope because that's aura is, we don't see it, but it's aura tagged. So yeah, the difference between Death's Oath and Herald of Thunder in the playstyle is the same, but it's chaos damage. So proximity shields, energy shields don't matter. The damage of Death's Oath Occultist is slightly lower than Herald of Thunder. However, it only ever so slightly. The Herald of Thunder can be ran with some amount of crit. Probably not a lot. You're looking at proccing Elemental Overload with one of the Heralds. Heralds can crit clusters, and then just have uptime on EO and just get more damage that way. Death's Oath is hard capped, but so cozy. It's hard capped to 34 million. This one can go like, maybe 100 million if you're min max it, but yeah. So Death's Oath, I had a lot of success with it. I ran a lot of maps. You can get your 2,000 plus kills per minute in the mapping. Super good. Corrupting Fever Champion. Super tanky and capable at sucking. It is super tanky, and it is capable. It falls off pretty hard. It really falls off. You're forced to go spiritual aid, and minion damage to get your damage early. I know that nowadays Light of Meaning exists as a way to Unnatural Instinct, and then Light of Meaning, and you get a bunch of extra AoE, around the Scion area. Um, but it still falls off so fucking bad. Reap is single target, but um, yeah, you're using Corrupting Fever with Kinetic Blast to apply bleeds with Fork or something just to apply more of them. Extremely, like, you can do 100% deli with it, no problem, but the damage doesn't feel good. Lightning Arrow Deadeye. Yeah, this says it all. It's very quick progress. There's a lot of good guys out there, but it's a very quick progress towards the gray screen. The Portal Scarab is viable on Lightning Arrow. That's all I can say. Great build, great build. It scales well into endgame, but it's very squishy. It doesn't really have room for defenses. And if you did have an option for defenses, you probably would choose damage instead, just because why not? There's a couple more things. Penance Brand. Um, and yeah, so Penance Brand, I don't know if it got buffs or what. Lots of people have been playing this lately, I've noticed. Maybe it doesn't occupy a lot of the space on PoE Ninja as far as top builds are concerned, but it's so good. I've seen it in action. It scales amazing, and I've seen Caps destroying Rogue Exiles with it. Um, it's it's great. If you have a lot of brand attachment range, it's kind of insane. The clear is off screen kind of good, and if you get even more brand attachment range, you not only off screen, but you just have to put down way less penance brands. Um, Explodes are so good. Yeah, it's so good. I haven't played it, so that's kind of got me intrigued and maybe giving it a go. But I don't know. I might choose something else. We'll see how it goes. This is just my thought progress. Um, Power Siphon Trickster Traps. Again, this can be played as Assassin or Trickster. Trickster maybe better in some way. Probably because of the masteries allocated damage type stuff. Very good build. Is extremely powerful, is extremely capable, but you do have to overcome. Well, I have to personally overcome the trauma with GGG nerfing Power Siphon. They nerfed it for wonders, like, you don't get consecutive hits anymore. But if you drop consecutive traps, it doesn't care. It's just, yeah, very good single target damage if you're using traps. Otherwise, it's shit. It's good for AOE, kinda on a wonder, but only good for single target with traps. So that's sort of what I'm thinking about, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I still don't know. I had to think about it a bit. If I had to give ratings on what let's start off with the worst of what I don't want to play the most. Toxicrane Pathfinder. I played it millions of times. I'm gonna rank that as a 9, or I don't. If I had to go 1 to 10, Herald of Thunder Autobomber. Okay, let's leave that for now. I'll rank that at 10 out. No, like, going backwards, 10 out of 10. But one out of 10 would be the best. Lightning Arrow that I don't want to feel squishy anymore. I've played it so much. I don't really want to feel squishy. In the same regard, Ellie hit. In the same regard, Slayer. It's kind of, that was a 9. One being like the most emotional attachment to playing it, with the most success I've ever had. Penance Brand, I'm curious, but I don't really know how to play it. I'll put that as a mid-range. Power Siphon, I don't know if I can get over the fact that I used to love Power Siphon. and now it's traps only. Um, but it is super capable. Put that as a 5, right in the middle. Uh, Herald of Thunder. I can make a decision on this at least. No, I don't want to play it. Uh, I had a lot of success with it. It's super smooth. It's great for Eldritch currency farming. It's super smooth for mapping. If you do invest a lot into damage to make your mapping harder, better, you miss out on a lot of defenses. It lacks a lot of defenses. So I think because of the defenses lost, I'm just gonna rank it lower. I only have to rank Dead Souls, Molten Strike, RF Jug. Okay, so I'll rank RF Jug. Um, the damage being hard capped does not excite me anymore. I played it a lot. I'll put that as a 7 though. Uh, I can make a decision on that, I guess. Yeah. So I played Lightning Strike into Splitting Steel on the Trickster with the really good gear. It's I did end up investing quite a lot and made it super expensive. But because it was butter smooth. Um, I'll put that as a 4 in order of importance, you know. Um, it's reliable. I kind of had success and I feel like playing it again, but I kind of played a lot of it. It was my main and Settlers lost it too long. If Settlers ended, I might have played it again. That's all I can say about that. Um, Death's Oath Occultist. It's hard capped. Boss damage is shit, but it's so fucking good at speedrunning. That's a 3 for me. It is so good at speedrunning maps. You breeze right through. Um, it's only 3 to make a decision on. So I would actually um rank that as a 3 as well. Because it's kind of like the same. I mean, it's a cultist as well, isn't it? I'm really leaning towards a cultist. Um, yeah, I would like to try Blade Vortex. Just the not the Val Blade Vortex, just Blade Vortex. For crop rotation risk scarabs. I would like to try it. It's quite capable at it. Good damage. It's excellent at strong boxes too, and it's super cheap. Quick and easy progress. Um, yeah, I'll do Blade Vortex and Dead South on a 3. Dead South will not run Harvest. It's kind of bad at it. The hit portion of its damage doesn't exist, so it's just really bad. Uh, Maybe in that case I'll do Blade Vortex on a 2. It's kind of the same, but slightly different. Uh, so I'm thinking Poison Seismic 2 and Molten Strike 1 because I did not know about the Earth Shatter staggering. I might have a lot more success with the shattering, with the staggering shouts. Um, Poison Seismic still kind of has me excited, but the thing is, Poison Seismic can't leech. The only issue with Poison Seismic is you're relying on regen to get your. That's the two differences between those two builds. It's quite capable damage. It scales really well into endgame, but you're solely relying on regen. You cannot leech. So, bossing is capable but sketchy. Molten Strike, I mean, it's tanky plus, you know, these builds are tanky plus they can leech. That's what I'm thinking about. Uh, Strength Stacker is super expensive. Super expensive. It more than likely But then again, the life stacker gear is just as expensive as the strength stacker. If I were to make a late game transition, it probably would end up being a strength stacker because I've done the life stacker thing already. So the next one will probably be strength stacker. Yeah. Some okay. Yeah. Well, that's me and my train of thought. I really wanted to do Poison Seismic. I haven't played it in a while. I had really good success. Hemophilia is really good. Sorry, the Deerstalker boots with the um, what's that with the chaining fucking blood tendrils is really good for clear. Um, Ronald like doesn't care about reflect or any of that. You can set up your Sunder and Earth Shatter to not care about reflect either, but this can leech. The other one can't. So I'm okay. I started this in Freshia and had a lot of success with it. Turned it into the Molten Strike of Zenith life stacker, but I kind of started late. Maybe I'll have more success with it. Turn it into a strength stacker eventually. No, yeah, those are very good decisions. Um, okay, I'll do this. Oh well. Thank you for joining me on my decision making stream. I didn't think I'd make a decision, but the ranking kind of did it for me, didn't it? All right, I'm gonna go do some study, and then I'll stream in a couple hours. Um, but yeah, looks like I'll be doing this. Okay, thank you. I'll join you later.